There is no spoon. But there are Ponzi schemes, hipster cities, and the threat of melting permafrost. Which are all the things that we'll talk about in this video. So without much further ado, let's get on with it. Oh, but before we go any further, as James May has put so eloquently, time and again, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay then, let's go. The Crypto Ponzi article is quite well done. I liked it. The initial sentences kept me going till, at least halfway through the article. It was familiar ground. I had read about a bunch of people pulling their money to buy a copy of the US Constitution, and failing, because that Citadel guy pipped them at the auction, just because he can. A lot of hue and cry ensued, and many media outlets covered the goings-on. And the author chose that as the starting point. But the clincher was the explanation of a DAO. The use of simple words, to talk about something that always gets couched in jargons and hype, is refreshing. More of that please. I find it strange that all the jargon and the inveiglement around crypto doesn't make people more suspicious. And that more people are attracted towards it, than repulsed by it. When it comes to money, shouldn't we keep it away from strange and smelly places? Because crypto is like that. Strange and smelly. The other notable thing, and this is a bit of a tangent, is that everything is now a business. That is just our lives now. We exist to make content, or take risks. That holiday is not a holiday unless you can vlog about it. That book is not read unless you can tweet a thread about it. That fitness is not gained unless you can Instagram it. That investment is not made unless you can crypto defy it. And that email is not sent unless you can newsletter it. Our lives are not meaningful unless we can put it on the blockchain and dream about earning some outsized returns from it. That is the reality now. Welcome to the world of Web3. Maybe I am jumping the gun here, and coming across as muddled and confused. If you require clarity, why not give the article a read? You won't regret it. At least that's what I think. Unless you tell us, of course. Down in the comments, just below the like and subscribe buttons. This story appealed to the hipster in me. Car-free living. The Holy Grail. You know what? I have done that for the significant majority of my existence, but mostly not as a choice. And I can tell you that it was a mixed bag. I can see the benefits of ridding the world of the car. Because there are many. Like the grandmas can walk the road, and the children can play safely, and those are good things. You can also save a lot of money by not buying a car, and the fuel, and the insurance, and not paying for maintenance. You can live a healthier life, if you bike, or walk, a lot of the time. Of course there need to be enablers. Like many infrequent trains or metro, and buses which are frequent and run on time. And not very expensive housing, because otherwise you'll have to stay too far away from your workplace, which makes everything worse. And very low levels of crime, because you want to feel safe, traveling on public transport, or walking down the road by yourself in the dark. And because those are all the things that Berlin may have, though I am not sure about the housing bit. Maybe tell us in the comments, if you know. So I was saying that it is no surprise, that because Berlin may have most of those ingredients, it is trying to reduce cars from a large portion of its city center. I also think that it is perfectly okay to own and drive a car. Because for the majority of the people in this world, Berlin is a fantasy. For the majority of us, the car is a source of safety and convenience, and a key enabler of our employment. Not every city has trains which run frequently, or a weather which won't burn and dehydrate you in 10 minutes, or a decent bus service, or even a responsive government. So you do what you have to make your lives more livable. Because Europe today is hardly an accurate representation of the rest of humanity. But it's a good article to read. And that Berlin is probably doing things which will benefit many of its citizens. The thing with The Economist magazine is that they make up their minds and tell you succinctly why they are right. You can disagree if you want, but the write-ups are quite well researched and well argued, and with a reasonable amount of context. This article, talking about the risks of thawing permafrost, is a good example of all of that. There are some really cool numbers like this bit. Almost 65% of Russian soil is permafrost, and it is here that 60% of the Arctic's human settlements, and almost 90% of its population can be found. Since thawing permafrost increases maintenance requirements for infrastructure, like buildings, roads, and pipelines, we are also told how expensive that is going to get. There are estimates that these can climb up to $35 billion per year by 2060. To be sure, that is quite some ways into the future, and it is just an estimate. But the article is a good informative read, and worth your time. So that's it for this one. Thank you for making it to the end. The links to the articles we talked about are in the description below. Also, consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.